Imagine, after eating at a restaurant, you are walking down a busy LA street on your way to slotting more money into your parking meter so as not to get a ticket, and all of a sudden a cop pulls up beside you and slaps handcuffs on you. Now imagine that after a few minutes, the initial cop is joined by 6 other police cars, and you are made to sit on the curb handcuffed while hundreds of cars zoom by. Furthermore, picture that you are not told why you have been detained/arrested until you are hauled back to the police station, fingerprinted, and accused of robbing a bank you have never heard of, let alone stepped foot in. This nightmare became a reality for 51-year-old Charles Belk, who just happened to be born black and walking down the wrong street at the wrong time. Belk is a movie and TV producer who was also participating in the Emmys weekend before he was arrested this past Friday afternoon by Beverly Hills cops. Belk had never been arrested before in his life. On the contrary, he was a successful professional in the entertainment industry, graduated from USC with a BS in electrical engineering and from Indiana University with an MBA. And yet he allegedly fit the description of a suspected accomplice to a Citibank bank robbery. According to a Beverly Hills Police Department statement about Belk's arrest, quote, "Within minutes of the robbery call being broadcast, police detained a subject less than a block away from the robbery who closely matched the clothing and physical characteristics of the male suspect." The statement further justified why the police arrested Belk by stating, quote, "After an eyewitness positively identified the subject in a field show-up, police arrested Charles Belk for suspicion of robbery." Too bad that ID process was based on Belk, who is 6'4", sitting on the curb with his head bowed down and blocked by a cop's motorcycle that was parked directly in front of him the entire time. The eyewitness must have had X-ray vision, or maybe it was every tall, bald-headed black man looks the same vision. It could have been that. In addition to the absurd IDing of Belk, the arresting officer did not read him his rights, nor did any other cop for that matter. He was denied a phone call at the jail, not given an explanation of the charges against him, and not allowed to speak with his lawyer until push came to shove. According to his lawyer, who proved to be his savior from possibly sitting in jail for days on end, the police lieutenant made him wait 45 minutes or more to see Belk, even though Belk has the right to see his lawyer based on being charged with bank robbery and conspiracy to commit bank robbery. The lawyer had to threaten Penal Code 825B, which states that any law enforcement officer willfully preventing an attorney from seeing his client is guilty of a misdemeanor. Needless to say, the police finally shedded their privilege for a brief moment and allowed Belk's lawyer in to see his client. Soon after Belk and his attorney started talking, the detective told the attorney that they had reviewed the tape from Citibank and, surprise, surprise, Belk was in fact not the man on the tape. Belk was released soon after. Why couldn't the brilliant police have looked at the video footage while Belk was baking in the sun for 45 minutes? Or check with the restaurant, which was around the corner, to confirm that he had just been eating there? Was it perhaps because they considered a black bank robbery suspect a second-class citizen, despite how nattily dressed and well-spoken he was? No, you say? If Belk was white, would the cops have taken their sweet time, 45 minutes on the curb and 6 hours in total? The answer is no, they wouldn't have. Especially after listening to the white producer explain who he was. The entire misunderstanding would have been over quickly. There are going to be plenty of white people who read the articles about Belk or watch this video and immediately say, the cops were just doing their job. Or, Belk matched the description of the suspect. But they will miss the point entirely. Number one, that black people are treated differently by police who are mostly white, and Belk's case is a perfect example of that. Number two, that the way these cops did their jobs was not only in part illegal, but illogical and unjust. And number three, that for the vast majority of black men falsely accused of a crime, harassed, detained, or arrested, they don't have the know-how, resources, or network that enabled Belk to relatively quickly find an attorney who could put enough pressure on the police to eventually get Belk released. When will the police of seemingly every city and town in the United States stop acting with unflinching, reckless abandon, especially against men and women of color?